Imagine if some celebrities stuck with their name that their parents gave them. Would they even be half as famous? Would they even be famous at all? They obviously changed it for a reason. I'm thinking Elizabeth Grant, Adam Wiles, Peter Gene Hernandez, aka Lana Del Rey, Calvin Harris, and Bruno Mars. Most famous of all is Sir Elton John. Would he have sold out every pop venue in the world 10 times over as Reg Dwight? Probably not. Not as starry, is it? The name Alpine A290 means absolutely nothing to anyone outside of Alpine. For people living near Canterbury, the A290 is a dodgy road to Whitstable, when really this car is a racy version of the brilliant Renault 5. So why not call it the Alpine R5? It's a strong name for a strong car. Everyone knows exactly what it is. It might even sell more. We know what the A stands for, Alpine. Apparently the 2 is the size of the car and the 90 denotes that it's a family car. Apparently. For the purposes of this review, we're just going to call it the Alpine R5. To be fair to our French friends, there's a lot more to this car than just a body kit. Bigger wheels, bigger brakes and square spotlights at the front. They've completely reworked the front suspension. They've pushed the wheels out wider, which means less body roll, more grip. They've hiked the power to 220 horses, and they've added an electronic limited slip diff and all sorts of other engineering geeky stuff. The result is a tiny dancer. Thank you, Elton. Of course, Alpine is perhaps better known as a Formula One team. Finished second and third in Brazil the other week, and this steering wheel leans on that heavily. This OV button is for overtake. Gives you maximum power. This RCH button down here adjusts the braking regeneration levels. All good stuff, but in truth, it feels a bit more like a boardroom wish list than something the engineers actually asked for, because you get the same punch just by pressing hard on the accelerator as you do pressing the OV button with a little throttle. Also, once you've set the regen levels to 4, to change it you have to do this. You have to keep twisting the wheel, whereas if I was coming to this corner now, I'd want a paddle here to go 4, 3, like engine braking in a normal car, and then going up through the gears. So even though it's aesthetically pleasing, it's going to please the PlayStation generation, for me, it doesn't quite have the driver engagement that it needs. It's not a deal breaker though. I mean, this is a really fun little car. I mean, it's a warm hot hatch really, because 220 horsepower isn't going to be, shall we say, the limit of this chassis ability. This car could quite easily handle 280 horsepower, maybe even more. And I wouldn't be surprised if further down the line they don't pop a rear motor on the back, make it four-wheel drive, even more of a pocket rocket. What's the rest of the cabin like? Well, if you know your French onions, this centre console with the DNR transmission is lifted straight from the Alpine A110 sports car. On the Renault 5, the control stalk's up here and you keep getting it mixed up with the wipers. So that's a plus point. This touchscreen is Google powered, but there's still controls here for the buttons we use most, the aircon, volume control up here. There's a nice weight to, or thickness to the steering wheel. There is a problem. Where am I supposed to put my drink? Put it in here, I suppose. Maybe not. So it needs cup holders in the front, and it definitely needs cup holders in the back. Now that was one of the criticisms we had of the standard Renault 5. No cup holders, no grab handles, nowhere to put your feet. Same applies with this car. The boot is decent though, 326 litres. That's good for a small car. Also, we need to talk about price. Now, we praised the Renault 5, not just for the way it looked or the way it drives, but because it was such brilliant value at £23,000. Even the top version was 29 something. Well, under 30k anyway. This starts at £33,000 for the 180 horsepower version and £38,000 for the 220 horsepower version, the GTS that we're driving today. That's a big jump. Job done. You're up to speed. I'm going for a quick play. On this little go-kart track.